Thanks everyone for joining. I know you got here on time, so we're going to start on time. So really appreciate everybody joining the webinar today. It should last about 30 minutes. My name's Dave Shapiro. I'm the president of North America for Pixellot, and I'll be the moderator. So I'll talk a little bit here in the beginning, but then I'm going to pass the torches off to Mark and Nick. There aren't going to be any decks or presentations. This is really meant to be conversational and address topics around streaming that are interesting to you guys, everyone in the audience there. So I have some questions for the panelists that I've thought of before the conversation here, but we also want to discuss what's on your mind. So please use the chat button at the bottom, type those in, and then our team will send me the questions that are relevant that will tie into the conversation as we go here. So we'll start just with some quick introductions. I want to introduce Mark O'Brien, who's on the call here. He's the CEO of LakePoint Sports in Georgia. He's led the stabilization and growth of one of the largest facilities in the world. Sports Business Journal actually recognized them a couple years ago as a finalist for top sports facility in the country. And that's not just youth sports facility, that includes professional sports too. So pretty awesome award that they got. Prior to joining LakePoint, Mark was actually the CEO of Mizuno USA, which those of you that are baseball fans, you'll know of Mizuno. He also held roles at Boys and Girls Club of America, the Houston Rockets, who just lost to the Golden State Warriors, and GMR Marketing. So Mark, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, pleasure, Dave. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And then Nick Busto is also with us. Nick's the VP of Video Operations at NBC Next. Prior to becoming the VP there, he was the CEO and co-founder of Rapid Replay, which is a business that he started and grew quite significantly in the youth sports marketplace. NBC actually bought Rapid Replay from Nick and his partner, and that platform became Sports Engine Play, which Nick's now leading under the NBC brand. Nick also played college baseball and was the captain of the baseball team at Cornell. So definitely understands the youth sports environment here as a player and a business executive. So thanks, Nick, for joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for organizing and having us, Dave.
Yeah. So the first question, Mark, I want to start with you. We can see the amazing background on your screen there of LakePoint, but it'd be great if you can just give us a little background on the facility, when it was built, how many playing surfaces, and what your priorities are there.
Yeah, thank you. Gosh, it's a beautiful campus. If you haven't been, it's a 1,300-acre campus. Behind me here is the South Campus, which is where all of our sports assets are. And we have a North Campus, an East Campus, and then of course the South Campus features 8 full-size Major League Baseball types of fields, with state-of-the-art everything on it, which is just really a blessing to have the amenities that we do on our baseball fields. Publix fields is 3 full-size soccer, lacrosse, 77 football fields, and that is a beautiful venue as well, featuring some of the same state-of-the-art amenities as our baseball venue. We also have a beach pavilion with 10 beach volleyball courts adjacent to a 3-lake wake park, which you can see over where my your left, my right shoulder. And then across adjacent from that is the Champions Center, which is a 170,000 square foot indoor pavilion, which features 12 full-size basketball courts that convert to 24 full-size volleyball courts on arguably one of the largest continuous wood floors in the world. And it's also the 6th largest convention space in the state of Georgia. And we host upwards of nearly 3 million people annually from all over the world, all 50 states, but globally. And just very fortunate with our location and what has been built on campus and the amenities that we offer here, both inside and outside the lines, that really separate it from other locations around the world.
Awesome. And I got the chance to visit it a few times and actually host our staff meeting there about a year ago. So Mark, thanks for having us, and our team had a fantastic time there.
Look forward to hopefully hosting you back again.
Yeah. Nick, I want to turn it over to you for a minute. It'd be great if you can just give us an overview of Sports Engine Play, when the platform was launched, and also where it fits in within the NBC umbrella.
Yeah. So as Dave mentioned a few years back, our company Rapid Replay was acquired by Sports Engine and NBC, and really that foundation at the time was a platform to be able to stream any game anytime from just about any device. So kind of a content management system to host live streams, game film highlights for youth sports organizations. And really with that transition into NBC and kind of the launch of Sports Engine Play, it's really that same foundation of Rapid Replay with an OTT or really consumer experience that you'd expect from NBC Sports. Adding the ability to have channels not only for facilities, but for events, for teams to be able to follow that world-class coaching content from the likes of Michael Phelps, Shaun White, Kerry Walsh Jennings, as well as elite live events from kind of the some of the best athletes around the country. So really that combination of kind of that personal content that we've always had with the ability to stream from any device, now matched up with kind of the firepower of the NBC brand. So launched at the end of or in fall of 23. So still a relatively new platform, but right now we've grown quite quickly, and really our biggest focus right now and biggest investment area is being able to work with facility partners like Mark and LakePoint, and being able to deploy state-of-the-art cameras. Obviously, work very closely with Dave and Pixellot to be able to do that, but to be able to stream everything therein, and we want to create as personalized an experience as possible. So Sports Engine Play fits within NBC Sports Next, and really the Sports Engine brand. Sports Engine has been kind of for the last 10 years really a dependable resource for youth sports organizations, which whether some of you, I think everyone on this call knows it, but what are business owners, right? And so the ability for these business owners to be able to run their businesses more effectively, whether those are registration tools, scheduling, websites, safety, all of that kind of in one piece. And Sports Engine Play kind of fits in as the missing piece of the puzzle, being video within an ecosystem, obviously with video being in the DNA within NBC Sports. So NBC Sports Next has youth and rec sports being Sports Engine, the golf brands being Golf Now and Golf Pass, and then actually an entertainment component being Fandango and Rotten Tomatoes. And so across our three businesses, we've got about 1,200 employees and serve about 30 million administrators, coaches, players, families, and fans across the businesses. So it's a super exciting time, and excited to keep going.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. So Mark, from spending time at the facility and talking to you a lot, I think, one of the things that I took away from our conversations is that customer experience is really at the center of everything that you guys do, from programming to facilities to everyday interactions. So I'm curious, where does streaming and video fit into the customer experience equation for you?
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think it really does start with our mission, vision, purpose, and values. And that's the what we do, and then how we do it, our values. And so that is core to our DNA as an organization. And we really talk about how do we deliver excellence in the guest experience in everything that we do. And so for streaming, we have really three primary business platforms. It's our sports operations, it's media and technology, and it's real estate. So from a sheer business strategy standpoint, we define media and technology as a critical component of our much broader strategy as an organization. And then within our broad strategy, we have our 7 strategic priorities where the streaming component is a critical piece. Live streaming, video on demand, and it's really about how do we provide, we talk about our campus as just a living, breathing content creation organism. There's content that can be created here daily, hourly, There's events going on right now at the Baseball Village. So, for us, it's how do we really make sure that we're providing best in class service to our customers, our guests, as we call them on our campus. And streaming is a critical component of that. We hedged a little bit a few years ago and leaned into streaming, and we're fortunate to work with you now, Dave, and really take it to another level in terms of the quality and the experience that our guests can have from a live streaming video on demand perspective. So it's core to our strategy and really making sure we deliver excellence in the guest experience.
Awesome. I love it. Nick, let's go back to you. I know you talked a little bit about the background of Sports Engine and the scale that Sports Engine as a business reaches, but it'd be helpful if you can give some more details on Sports Engine Play, which is a newer platform, when it was developed, and then, or you already talked about when it was developed, but really the offering that you guys would bring to a venue.
Yeah. So this year we'll stream well over 200,000 games. Right now we have cameras committed for kind of over 1,000 playing surfaces, with the goal of that being 10,000 over the course of the next 5 years. And what that looks like oftentimes is kind of what I was saying earlier at the highest level, to be able to work together to install fixed mount AI cameras to deliver a elevated production at scale. And I think that is the challenge, and it's the challenge of youth sports, right? Is the volume that people on the outside of the industry, sometimes it's tough to wrap your mind around. Mark was just talking about some of the statistics of the sheer number of people that come through their facility on an annual basis. Just the sheer amount of games makes that inherently a challenge. So using cameras like Pixellot, for example, allow to be able to tap into those games at scale. But really, for us, it's raising the floor. It's making sure that each and every game has that elevated production, because then when you translate to, again, what Mark's talking about, each and every experience is improved, because whether that's the people on site, the people watching the live stream, the grandma across the country, it all kind of it all ties back. So for us, it's really kind of at its core on the production side, being able to scale production side. But then there's I think when you look with a relationship like LakePoint, there's us trying to make sure that we are mirroring what the values of our partners are, right? So if customer experience is at the forefront, we want to make sure that exists remotely, being live stream game film. We want to support their content creation engine by making sure they have easy access to all of the plays, be able to clip and deliver plays to social at any and all times, and let Corey on his team kind of work his magic. But then in addition, if it's integrating with TVs throughout the actual facility, or finding additional ways that we can creatively kind of step that experience up. So those are the things that we want to do at the highest level. It's put cameras in and make sure we can stream the games. But beneath that, it's making sure that we can use that content and build on that relationship, so that we're elevating that customer experience.
Great. And just to follow on to that, Nick, I know there's probably smaller facility owners also that are on the call here listening. Not many facilities are 300 plus acres like LakePoint. I'm curious, how does the offering change, or is it basically the same if it's somebody that has 5 courts or 3 baseball fields and is much smaller scale?
Yeah, I would say the offering at its highest level is, again, that kind of high level offering is largely the same. We try and automate as much, with the advantages on with AES and Turning Machine, and kind of the data we do have within Sports Engine's ecosystem. We try and make that as automated as possible, so we can deliver kind of a consistent experience. Now, inherently, there are initiative strategies that we're going to take with kind of larger partners that might not take um, with everyone, whether that's the amount of time and energy and team members that are working on that platform due to the volume of games, or it's kind of strategic initiatives within the market. I think, for instance, Mark and his team host an incredible event, or have hosted in the past an incredible event that we are excited to be partnering with in kind of the years to come. The years to come being the National Youth Sports Summit, right? And we want to make sure that we can help support bringing the brightest minds in the industry together to discuss what needs to be discussed. And like, that doesn't happen at every facility, right? But those are the types of things that that we might do to support kind of key initiatives with certain partners. But again, the offering itself at its foundation remains consistent.
Perfect. Great. So, Mark, I know prior to working with Pixellot and Sports Engine Play, you worked with other streaming providers. I'm curious, what's the difference, do you think, about your partnership with us, and how does it differentiate from other competitors in the marketplace?
Yeah, I think at the forefront, when we first met, Dave, and you and I were talking about opportunities here, and for LakePoint, it goes back to the guest experience. How are we going to provide the best experience possible? And what became very evident to me is your passion around not only your brand and your technology, but being a partner in the business and being relational and not transactional. And for us at LakePoint, that's a critical component. We want to be relational in everything we do. Transactions are part of the relationship, but it starts with, how do we have a common vision, common goals? Can we create a value proposition that our guests or our shared consumer will find and appreciate, find that value and appreciate that value and get something out of it? We want to make sure that whatever we do, we're delivering excellence in that experience for our guests, so that value proposition, they can feel really good about it. Because, as we know, youth sports, it can be very expensive. And so as we listen to our consumers and we hear what they're talking about and what their concerns are, it's very evident to us that we need to continue to raise the bar to make sure that value proposition is there for them, so they feel really good about every time they come through the LakePoint campus. So choosing a partner like you and your organization, where we really focus on the relationship, service, ideas, testing. You and I were just talking the other day, and you're like, "Hey, we're coming out with I don't want to do breaking news here, but a new technology of sorts at some point in time." And it was like, "Hey, we should talk about how we test that and then scale it." And so as we go around, we are looking at how do we build out a youth sports ecosystem with partners that can elevate the overall experience, not only at LakePoint, but on a national front. And how do we work together in creating that unified approach where all boats rise for the businesses, but most importantly for our shared consumer and for us at LakePoint, our guests on campus.
Awesome. That's really helpful, and I appreciate the kind words. As a business, one of the things we talk about is, being in technology, and especially emerging technology, you're going to have challenges, and there's going to be times that things don't work as you expect. But what we can control is how we handle those challenges and work through them with our partners. So that's really important to us as a business. Nick, I'm going to go back to you. So being part of NBC Sports is obviously a huge benefit for Sports Engine Play. But I'm curious, how does that connection with NBC translate into a facility operator like Mark?
Yeah, I think that the first thing in working with facility operators, just generally, is trying to make sure that one common goal we hear is trying to make sure that we have the best events, the best athletes, and as we're talking about, the best experience coming through the doors. And one of kind of the privileges we have being within the NBC sports world is one, having name recognition across the industry, but two, being able to kind of connect that recognition to exceptional experiences. So for instance, sometimes that's elevating specific events or pieces of content throughout our ecosystem. So for instance, the Puma basketball grassroots circuit, or the USL, those are content series where the vast majority of the volume of games are on Sports Engine Play, but we'll elevate a specific subset of games to Peacock, for instance. So one, it's being able to kind of provide that offering because we have a shared or a mutual customer in the event operator when someone's coming in and renting a venue. But at the same time, it's also an opportunity to showcase that venue on a bigger stage. And so I think kind of at its core, it's yes, the name recognition is something, but it's really the resources that come behind that to be able to provide kind of an experience at very little cost to the venue, and then the megaphone, or kind of the amplification engine, if you will, to be able to put some of those best moments on bigger stages.
Great. Okay. Mark, I'm going to go back to you again here. So after talking to our team who's in conversations daily with venues, one of the pieces of feedback that we often get is that there's a worry about live streaming actually being a threat to their business, because gate is obviously a big revenue driver. You know, most facilities, concessions, gate, parking and then tournament fees are where their revenue comes from. So, you know, the feedback we've gotten is that if more people are watching the live stream, less people are going to come to the venue. Therefore, our gate and concessions will struggle. So I'm curious how you think about that challenge.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. We think of it really a 180 from the point you were making. To the contrary, we really, and I think Nick nailed it, we look at this as a amplification of the experience on campus and an opportunity for us to tell our story. So for example, we've had over, we've had over 200 hours total of airtime, over 120 broadcasts where we're actually doing play-by-play, you know, across a variety of sports. And we have 8 core sports: baseball, basketball, volleyball, soccer, lacrosse, gymnastics, cheerleading, and 77 football. So your point's well taken, but we see it as an opportunity to showcase not only the campus, but what's happening inside the lines. And certainly, you know, for example, with our relationship with Prep Baseball and the incredible job that they do on the tournament side, we just had a gentleman, Jack Bauer, who's a senior. He's a commit to Virginia, was just on campus, and he went viral for, I think he threw 7 pitches over 100 miles an hour, hit 102 on the gun, it's just amazing in its own right. But we have a history of him playing at LakePoint, dating back 2-3 years ago. And you've seen the progression of his talent and his skill. And it's just, you know, that's because of our relationship with Pixellot, and we're able to capture the content. Corey does an exceptional job with his team in terms of storytelling, and we've turned our broadcasts more into a media showcase. And so for us, we see it as an opportunity to reach millions from around the world, which we do. And we get that outreach from around the world with the millions that we're reaching. So it's really a great opportunity to expose the brand, but also expose the events and the talent and the competition at LakePoint. And then most recently, and Nick, you know, I know we'll be working towards this, Rise Hoops, which they're headquartered out of the Champion Center at LakePoint. We've done, I think we're up to 3 broadcasts now at LakePoint. And so that's going to be another opportunity for us to do exactly what Nick was talking about on the basketball front, which we continue to test and learn opportunities from a broadcasting, but then also just content creation and curation that we take to market.
That's great. And I think it makes a lot of sense, right? If you're watching the tournament from somewhere else, you know, you're in Michigan or whatever, and you see the level of play and how beautiful the facility is, you maybe go to your coach or go to the parents and say, hey, we should be going to this tournament next year and playing there.
Well, whether it's a tournament or creating a video resume, you know, just in all of your content from LakePoint. You know, we've got on each field, we've got TrackMan. So we're We've got all the statistics in terms of spin rate, exit velocity, and certainly miles per hour, as I noted. But we also do similar things over on basketball. And certainly with the growth of volleyball and what we're doing in the volleyball space, excited to be working with Nick and his team on the broadcast that we can create around volleyball as well.
Great. Awesome. So Nick, live streaming is obviously the main product I think that people come to Sports Engine Play for. That's kind of the first step on the escalator there. But I'm curious, what other products around video is Sports Engine Play either currently offering or will be offering in the future?
Yeah, I think everything we're doing is in the spirit of both simplifying the customer experience and personalizing the customer experience, and largely from a technology perspective. But I think when that's done through technology, it bleeds into just the experience as a whole. And so what that looks like for us is really creating a game day experience, a more tightly integrated game day experience. So right now, that might look like live streams, game film highlights, kind of video. But when you think about what the game day experience looks like today, live stream, highlights, scores, stats, schedules, ticketing, a lot of that in most corners of the sports world is pretty fragmented right now across different platforms. So for us, it's looking to be able to consolidate that experience. And the first step is working across existing platforms to make it a connected experience. Maybe not one platform, but make sure the data is flowing properly. So whether that's through our tournament platforms, Tourney and AES, being able to connect the schedules, so there's one source of scheduling, and so the live stream schedule isn't any different than the active tournament schedule, or the scores posted on that reflect the live streams, and making sure all of that is consistent. And then in the future, it's just making sure we can bring those closer and closer together. So whether that's for the venue or the tournament operator, kind of lightening their load operationally, but also for the end consumer, making sure that anything they care about, being a ticket, a score, a schedule, a highlight, all of that is just kind of delivered right to them. So obviously starts with video. We got to nail that first, but there's a lot of opportunity even within just the existing sports center properties that we're working with.
Great. Mark, we had a question come in from the group here that relates to the last topic that I was talking about with you. So George Vick asked, what percentages do you see on gate or concession loss versus viewership revenue? Now, I assume you don't have the data at the tip of your fingers, but I'm just curious, year over year, since you had streaming last year too, if you say similar number of events, did gate go down at all after you really started pushing streaming?
No, it's truly an amplifier. So great question, George. And I would just say that we've seen growth on all fronts. And I think it's how it's executed. Corey and the team do an exceptional job in terms of creating the right type of content that's sticky. We focus primarily on the athlete. We're going to be announcing a new media relationship in the not too distant future. But Corey does an exceptional job, and his team, on creating content that's relevant and sticky for the athletes, coaches, and families. And it has not had a negative impact on our gate or F&B. In fact, we integrate our F&B into the broadcast. I think it was National Pretzel Day Saturday or two ago. And so we were featuring our best in class pretzels and saw an uptick in our pretzel sales. So you can actually do it in a way that is additive and fun and part of the overall experience, both on campus and off.
Awesome. Great. Another question for you, Mark. So I know that you run a lot of events on your own, and then you have some also that are third-party operated, where it's a tournament business that come in and rents the championship center and runs their own event there. So I'm curious, how do you handle the discussion around rights and live streaming when it's not your own event, when it's somebody else's event?
Yeah, I mean, we have about just north of a 90% retention rate in all of our relationships, third-party relationships. So when it's not owned and operated, We're fortunate where we have really strong relationships. And so we sit down and just talk about how do we create value for the guest and how do we enhance their experience in their event for their consumers. And, 9.9 times out of 10, they're highly interested and engaged in, yeah, what more can we do? It goes back to that value proposition. So what more can we do? What are the offerings that we can provide? And what does that service look like? And then how do we execute it? So I think, the execution is the key, as Nick talked about. So depending on the sport, the event, the venue, what are the camera angles? What do the views look like from the cameras? What's that integration with other technology, whether that's, scoring, team customization, team rosters. There's a lot that goes into it, but I think ultimately we've had great receptivity to how do we enhance the guest experience and provide value and elevate it, whether it's, for our third party partners. And then certainly for us, it's always, how do we deliver excellence?
Great. And then Nick, at a very basic level, if you have a facility owner on the call here who says, I'm interested in this, what is the investment that the facility has to make versus the investment that Sports Engine Play is going to make in the venue?
Yeah, I think the key investment the facility has to make is commitment, right? It's not financial. It is it's a commitment to live streaming, to being able to, as Mark was talking about, sit down with whether they're your internal team who's operating events or your customers who are coming through the doors and renting events with kind of promotional elements. But at the highest level, the facility doesn't have to invest in cameras or hardware or software to be able to get this up and running. That we take on that investment as an investment in the facility and in the relationship. And what we will do is we're going to continue to work through it. And as Mark knows, everything doesn't go off without a hitch from the get-go, and nothing really does in technology. But the goal is, and kind of one example being with the Champion Center on this volleyball season, it's Mark mentioned camera angle. Sometimes the camera angles aren't what the customer expects or needs, right? And so the goal is, okay, how can we make this better today? How can we make this better this week? How can we make this better this month? And then when you have a larger break being kind of between volleyball seasons, okay, how can we reimagine this for next season? So this is what we need it to be able to match kind of the expectation of the facility. And that's really the commitment that we're making on top of a financial commitment is from a relationship perspective, from an ongoing commitment. It's not great, we've installed cameras, we'll see you next week. Like that's not how we want to or will continue to operate, but it's a two-way street, right? And so I think that's the one thing that that we expect and want to continue to see from our partners is, if you're going to sign up to start streaming, this has got to be a priority for you, and we want to be able to work together. We're going to dedicate resources to make that a success. But we want to make sure that you guys are the boots on the ground and can help us make that a success.
Great. So the last question that I have for both of you that I'm hoping you can address, don't care who jumps in first here, is the industry, youth sports and also video specifically, has evolved a ton over the last 7 years, I'd say. 20 plus years ago, I played college baseball, Division II. Not one game my entire career was produced or streamed or anything like that. Now every game, even down to T-ball at some places, is streamed and produced at some level. So I'm curious what both of you see the industry looking like as a whole 5 years from now, even not that far out, but 5 years from now. What does the sports streaming landscape look like?
Nick,
You want to,
wanna-
Mark? Yeah, I'm happy to. I think for me, it's twofold, and it kind of depends on the lens that you're looking at, or the stakeholder, I guess, that you're looking at. First off, on the consumer perspective, right? For that fan, that family, that athlete, I said this a little bit earlier, but the experience is, I think, where we're taking it and where the industry is going is that those only get more personalized, right? I want to know whether I'm at the game, whether I'm watching the live stream, or neither. I want the plays from the person I care about most, also could be myself, delivered directly to me right when it matters. And I think from a video perspective, that's the experience that in some cases we are already able to deliver, but to create that as the ubiquitous experience within the youth sports video industry. And I think on kind of the business side or the organizer side, whether that's on the facility operators or rights holders, event operators, I think it's really the opportunity, and where I see us playing a significant and a unique role there is being able to have key relationships on both sides and playing, for lack of a better term, matchmaker a little bit, and being able to say, hey, we have an incredible facility that matches up directly with this elite rights holder. You guys should connect, because I think you're a great host for this property to be able to host events. And really, not only just from an on-site experience, but also when you're talking about from a streaming perspective, it allows those games to be produced in a much more efficient manner. Again, kind of what I was talking about previously of having that elevated production at scale. So I think it's both more personalized experience on the consumer perspective, and then from a business, making sure that we can help connect the right properties with the right venues as we begin to scale relationships on both sides.
Great.
Yeah, well said, Nick. And I think just to dovetail off that, Dave, I think first of all, it'll be mainstream. It'll be just the price of entry. That if you're not live streaming, you're well behind at this point in 5 years. I think you're going to see more integration with other technologies and technology services and providers. And I think, Sports Engine and what Nick, the team there, and Shane and Abe and John and what Will's leading, I think they're going to continue to lead the charge on innovation and integration with Sports Engine, which is the opportunity. So, and I think there's going to be others out there. There's announcements running around youth sports yesterday. Some big announcements with investments that are happening. So it's a very active landscape right now. And so in 5 years, where will live stream be? It'll be mainstream. There'll be innovation and integration of new technologies inside of live streaming. And if you're not involved and part of that, you're going to be left behind. And for us at LakePoint, again, with our relentless focus on delivering excellence in the guest experience, we'll be looking at how do we partner with the likes of your organization, Pixellot, NBC Sports Next, Sports Engine, and others to make sure that we're on the forefront of providing excellence in that guest experience from a live streaming and a technology front.
Great. Yeah, I completely agree, Mark. I think the live streaming will be, commonplace for everybody, not even just the biggest and best facilities like you guys, but even down to the local park and rec facility. And I think the data side of this is really interesting too. You're now starting to see some companies that from the video can pull some performance data. So how fast the athlete's running, that 100-mile-an-hour pitch that you, instead of needing a radar gun, for example, that you could tell that from the video, how fast the pitch was thrown. And so I think that's a really interesting piece to tie kind of the consumer video piece to the performance and athlete development type of technology that's out there. And then I think the second thing that I would point to is right now you have a lot of long form video that's captured. And I think, having 3 kids that play sports, the moments they really care about is the hit they got or the basket that they scored or the goal that they scored. So being able to curate and take down the 2-hour game to 30-second highlight reels of the plays that matter to mom, dad, aunts, uncles, the athlete, etc., I think is part of the next wave here also.
Yeah, spot on, Dave. That personalization that Nick talked about, the customization that you're speaking of, and the access to that in near immediacy is going to be part of that 5-year horizon where you can access it instantly versus some sort of hours or days delayed in accessing that type of content. I think that's spot on. So there will be much more personalization, customization as part of that innovation and integration with the technology. Not to sound all buzzwords there, but it really is. That's where I think this is really going to continue to be mainstream or become more mainstream and more accessible and scalable over the course of the next 5 years, with the points that you and Nick both made.
Yeah, completely agree. Well, we're a little over 30 minutes, but this has been a fantastic discussion. I really enjoyed the time with you guys. So thanks for joining the webinar here. John Semmel, who's on the call, will stay on. John, if you could maybe put your email in the chat too, so if people have specific questions, they can reach out to you directly. But Mark, Nick, thanks again, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for setting
Thank you,
it up.
Dave.
Thanks for all the support, man. Appreciate
Yeah.
everything.
Yep. See you
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Talk to you soon.